Good morning. I'm Anna Marie De La Vega. Thank you for joining us today. This is Focus. Today, our guest is Lieutenant Bill Miller from the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So we want to start talking about child passenger safety first, and then we're going to roll on to some other topics. Are you game for that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we had Child Passenger Safety Week just recently. It's a nationwide push to make sure that we keep our kids safe in our vehicles. How are we doing so far with that, and what do we still need to do?
We are doing very well with that, but what we need to do is make parents, caregivers, guardians, grandparents, whoever's in charge of that child, we need to really emphasize to them that that's their number one task when operating a motor vehicle, is to make sure that that child, who cannot speak for themselves, cannot make decisions on their own, that that child is your number one priority and that their safety is your very top priority.
Because we get distracted. Get in the vehicle, get distracted.
We do. We all get in a hurry. We all have a point A to point B we're trying to get to, a point A from A to Z we're trying to get to throughout the day. We get distracted by cell phones, by traffic, by numerous things. There's the day-to-day activities. But I always remember, before you put that car in drive, secure that child in that seatbelt or secure that child in a child restraint device, depending on their age, and make sure they are secured properly before you ever leave the driveway or parking space.
So if we have new parents listening and they don't know because they haven't been through this before, what are the things that they can get help with, and what do they need to know?
Well, absolutely. Tennessee Highway Patrol, we have numerous troopers who are trained and certified in child restraint device inspections to make sure that child restraint device is secured properly. And as a new parent, we want to stress to you, just because you come into our office, you're not going to get a ticket if that child restraint device is improperly installed.
That's real. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yes, we're not out to punish you if it's not installed correctly. You can come into us, we can inspect it. If it's installed incorrectly, we will correctly install it, and show you how to do that. So obviously, because we do know there's going to be times where you have to remove that child restraint seat.
Right.
Put in another vehicle, because many parents only have one child restraint seat per child. They don't have multiple per vehicles. So we'll show you how to reinstall it correctly using tether hooks or tether straps, or also using the seatbelt of the vehicle. So again, new parents, or parents, if you're not a new parent and you don't know if your child restraint seat or booster seat, whatever the case may be, is installed correctly, come out to our Highway Patrol offices and or just call us, make an arrangement, make an appointment, and we'll inspect it for you for free. And again, no citation if it's not corrected, no tickets. We will help you.
If, for example, my husband put it in, he says, "Nah, I know what I'm doing," and I had it inspected and it was wrong, could you just write him a note maybe and say, "Hey"?
For you anything. Of course we can.
Listen to her next time.
Exactly. I've heard that many times from my wife.
Oh, I bet. So you will inspect the child safety seats for free, help people know how to install them and teach them. Are there specific standards for child safety seats?
There are. The child safety seats are the guidelines for a child safety seat are all mandated by the federal government. So do not buy a used child seat. Do not buy a child seat that's at a yard sale.
Why?
You never know if that child seat has been involved in a crash. You don't know if the structure of the seat is weakened or compromised.
Oh. I would not have thought of that.
Correct. So again, and even in your car, if you're in a vehicle and your seatbelts, a serious enough crash where your seatbelts have locked and restrained you backwards, you need to make sure your seatbelts are inspected as well, because that fabric extends. Fabric can fray, and again, it weakens the usability of that seatbelt. So make sure your seatbelts are inspected if you're ever in a crash. But we're talking about child safety seats right now, so make sure that you buy a new child restraint device. If you cannot afford to buy a new child restraint device, there are numerous programs within every county in the state of Tennessee that will help parents get a new child restraint device for free.
And I guess, would that be a call to 211? Isn't that the phone number to find out where you can get help for various things?
Yes, ma'am. You can do that, or you can go to your local health department, your county health department.
Got it.
For those folks who maybe are not comfortable talking on the phone, just go by your local county health department, and they'll guide you in what you'll need to do.
In all the years that we've been doing interviews and talking about safety, I did not realize that if you're in a serious enough wreck that your seatbelts lock, that you should have them inspected. And by whom?
You can go by and have them inspected through any authorized dealer as far as service center. Make sure that they look at those, because obviously when that seatbelt It's fabric. It's material. It's woven fabric. It's woven material. If you look at it very closely, you can see the fibers standing up. You can see the fibers that have broken. So with that, and if you have a seatbelt just through over the years that has gotten a cut or a worn or torn mark in it,
Whoa.
have that seatbelt replaced. Immediately have your mechanic order a new one and have it replaced, because you are severely compromised by how effective that seatbelt may operate.
Yeah, it's going to have to stop you possibly in a very forceful situation.
It is your life. It is your life that's at risk if you're operating a vehicle with no seatbelts being worn, and it's your life at risk if you're operating a vehicle that the seatbelts are partially torn, ripped, or the fabric is fraying from where it has been placed under severe stress.
Or even the child safety seat, if you're using the seatbelt to secure that.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. And you just have to really, safety has to be your top priority. If you're in a crash, say, for example, our speed limit is 55 miles per hour on most highways, 70 miles per hour on the interstate. Your vehicle has a collision, say at 55 miles per hour. That's the first collision. If you're not wearing a seatbelt, the second collision is your body striking something within that vehicle, whether it be steering wheel, the dash, the windshield, or being thrown out the window. Again, that impact is going to be approximately 55 miles per hour as well. Your body now striking something.
Oh.
And to apologize if it sounds too gruesome, the third impact, if you're not restrained, are all your internal organs now crashing against your chest cavity.
Oh, whoa.
At that speed. So you are severely increasing your risk of serious bodily injury or death by not being properly restrained, not having a proper child restraint device, or having seatbelts that are no longer effective to what they were designed to be.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought the seatbelt issue to mind. I did not know that, and that's definitely something to look into. What about adult passenger safety? Are we doing better with that? Do we find that more adults are fastening their seatbelts because a lot of them are in cars already, and you have to fasten them or the big loud beeper goes off?
Correct. As technology improves in vehicles, many vehicles will ding and ping, and lights will flash and alert you with a indicator which seat is not. If there's a passenger sitting in that seat that's not restrained, you'll, like, say, for example, my vehicle. If everyone's restrained properly in their seats, it detects the weight of a person in that seat. It shows all green. The seats are all green.
Okay.
The illustration. If someone's not restrained properly, it shows a red seat.
Yeah.
So until they buckle their seatbelt, and then it goes green. But yes, we are seeing an improvement in seatbelt enforcement. We are seeing a significant increase in voluntary compliance for people wearing their seatbelts, and that's what we want. We want people to voluntarily comply with the seatbelt law to safely restrain themselves in their vehicle by clicking their seatbelt. We do have a problem with a certain, I guess, age group or dynamic that does still yet resist, and I guess it's more so out of rebellion or youth inexperience, but that's age 16 to 24.
Oh, whoa.
And those are white males, and typically in pickup trucks. So we are finding that still to be our current most stubborn dynamic of people that we are trying to get to wear their seatbelts voluntarily.
White males 16 to 24
in pickup trucks. Pickup. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Do pickups have seatbelts?
They do, obviously they do, but most you'll see a lot of, and of course the state has addressed the law, which kind of has, I think, in my personal opinion, has caused this age group to do what they're doing, to not wear their seatbelt, but to hold on to the steering wheel, lean forward so they can look over the hood. They would bulldog, as the phrase is, their rear end of their trucks by shackling down their rear leaf springs or suspension to pull the back end down and then raise the front end up extremely high. So it looks as if the truck is heavily loaded down in the rear in the bed, but there's nothing in the truck. It's just how they drive.
That's because they're cool that way.
That's what the impression that they think that they are, but obviously they're not. They're putting themselves and everyone else at risk for by having that front end elevated to that point. So they cannot see over the hood. The hood is now pointing. The hood and the nose of the vehicle is pointing straight upwards instead of being level or having a downward rake towards the front. So they can't see. So they unbuckle their seatbelts. They raise themselves up over on their steering wheel so they can look over the hood of the vehicle. So that is the primary cause, in my personal opinion, about why that age group has failed to wear their seatbelts voluntarily. So, state of Tennessee, thankfully, our legislature has addressed our legislative body has addressed that issue by making it illegal now in the state of Tennessee to shackle your rear leaf springs like that, in the bulldogging phrase, as I said. So it's now illegal for you to do that and to operate your truck in that fashion. So we're hoping as with more enforcement of that, more education on that law, and more education with that age group about the importance of seatbelts, that we will get that dynamic down drastically.
It's so important when you're young to fit in, to be part of the cool crowd as you feel like you are, and for young males, for teenagers of both sexes, both genders, to try and show that they're special, they're unique. And guys, I guess, have that tendency to get all that testosterone going. And I'm a bad guy. I'm tough, but it's deadly.
It is a deadly combination. Obviously, youth and inexperience behind the wheel
as well.
Everyone's trying to find their way. We were all young, teenagers at one time. For me, many years ago. But but I do remember my teenage years and some of the craziest things I did, and I'm just very thankful to God that I've made it through those years. Mm-hmm. But as parents, as adults who have made it through our inexperience as far as lack of knowledge in driving and
all the stupid things we did,
lack of maturity and all the stupid things we did, it's our duty to now educate younger people and just kind of tell them about the consequences, what can happen from their lack of good choices.
And, a lot of these things we didn't know about.
Correct.
When we were younger. And I know I didn't have anybody to talk to me about some things like that, specifics, but we do have that now. And we do have that knowledge now that we can pass on to the kids.
Oh, absolutely. And you nailed it. We didn't have the information that's readily available to us back in, say, the early 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, the 1800s and all.
Exactly. Well, we won't go back that far. But obviously now you have cell phones. You have all that technology in your hands. And as technology has improved, as far as what you can look up and how you can get information on laws from your cell phone or from your laptop, from your desktop, anywhere that you are, as a parent, as a caregiver, as a guardian, as a young driver, if you have a question about a law, you can look it up so easily. Whereas back in our years of early driving, we didn't have that.
Unless you carried the book around with you.
Unless you carried a paperback book, or you went to the driver's license testing center and got a book from them. And but if you didn't, you just didn't know.
Yeah.
So, but now as we are becoming more educated as a society, it is our responsibility as parents, as friends, as caregivers, as law enforcement, to educate everyone on the consequences of what can happen by the choices of our actions. So again, if you choose to not wear a seatbelt, it is not because the lack of information is out there. It's because you are choosing to make the wrong choice, wrong decision for yourself. Mm-hmm. And when I say for yourself, that's kind of a contradiction, because that's one thing I've ran into many times as a trooper when I pull someone over for not wearing their seatbelt. The person will say, "Well, it's only going to affect me.
Oh,
it's only going to hurt me if I'm not wearing my seatbelt, so I don't want to wear it." And that's where the person is 100% incorrect. You're married, correct?
Yeah.
Say you don't wear your seatbelt. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, say you're injured or killed in a crash. Now, you have a husband.
Yeah.
He is going to have to be going through life without you, or vice versa. Same for him. If he's unfortunately killed or injured in a crash, you're going through life without him. That affects you, not just the driver of that car.
Yes.
That affects children. That affects bills being paid. That affects whether or not you are living on the street or whether you have a home and a roof over your head.
Whoa.
So not wearing your seatbelt, the most ignorant thing someone can say is it only affects me. Even if you're a single person and you have no loved ones in your life, but you have a pet or a dog or a cat, that pet is waiting for you to come home. If you do not come home, who's going to feed and take care of that fur baby, as we all love to call our animals that we love dearly?
Yeah.
Who's going to take care of that pet? Who's going to give it food, water? Who's going to take it outside for a restroom? No one. Mm-mm. So think of how gruesome of the last few days that pet may have if no one comes and checks on it.
Yeah. Even if you didn't have any connections at all, aren't you more likely to be able to retain control of the car if you're in an accident or trying to avoid an accident if you have your seatbelt on?
Absolutely. It's not a restricted device to where you cannot, to where you're like bound into your vehicle like some type of torture device.
Yeah.
You do have flexibility. You do have room to move. You can adjust yourself in your seat. You can move forward because the seatbelt does retract and move forward with you as you move. Mm-hmm. It does allow you free movement within to reach your dash if you need to change the air conditioner or adjust your mirrors. It does allow you that free accessibility to what you need to access in your vehicle. It does if you run off the roadway. If you have to overcorrect, if you have to jerk hard to avoid a car that pulls out in front of you, it does instantly retract to keep you safely in your seated position behind the steering wheel or in your seat as a passenger. It does, and as the vehicle calms down, as the dynamics of the situation retreat, and you're now back to normal, your vehicle senses that, and the seatbelt will release, and it goes back to normal, unrestricted movement. As you, I say unrestricted. You can't get up out of your seat, move to the back seat, obviously, things such as that. But you can adjust yourself in your seat again, your mirrors, your air conditioner, your radio, whatever you need to do in your vehicle.
And you have not received a serious or deadly injury.
Correct.
From something minor.
Correct, exactly. Many crashes that we see where a seatbelt would have saved someone's life is they have overcorrected the steering wheel. They ran off the roadway. They jerked the steering wheel to get back on at a very dramatic overcorrection, and the vehicle or someone has pulled out in front of them, or they're driving distracted, and they look up and they see a vehicle stopped in front of them. And they jerk the steering wheel in a very dramatic overcorrection of the steering wheel, and the vehicle then is caused to roll over or flip. We've seen the person thrown out. We see this all the time, where the person is thrown from their vehicle because they weren't wearing their seatbelt.
Yeah.
And if they were wearing their seatbelt, the damage to the vehicle, the lack of intrusion inside the cab, or the passenger compartment of the vehicle, indicates that the person would have had a very strong likelihood of survivability if they were restrained correctly in their vehicle.
Isn't that how most cars are supposed to be designed, to have room to live?
Yes.
Like if you're fastened in, that car can get rolled around and tossed around, but often that little space where your seat is, where you would be sitting if you're held in, would be enough to keep you from getting seriously hurt.
Correct. From your side curtain airbags to your dash airbags to your steering wheel airbags to airbags that get deployed from your sides of your seat, your headrest of your seat. The vehicle compartment is designed for you to survive, if at all possible. But obviously, we understand and know. Obviously, that there are crashes that are so severe.
Yeah. So
severe that the best safety tools, best safety measures, unfortunately, just are not going to do their job because they just, by the mere severity of the crash, they just cannot.
Yeah.
So your seatbelt overwhelmingly gives you the largest chance to survive a crash over any other safety measures you have inside your vehicle.
I've heard, if you're just joining us, I'm Anna Marie, and this is Focus. We're talking with Lieutenant Bill Miller with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I remember hearing, and it stuck with me, of a grandfather who had his granddaughter in the truck. She was on the seat of the truck, and it was a minor thing. He had to slam on his brakes or something, and she fell and hit her head on the dashboard, the hard dashboard, and she ended up dying. It's a minor thing, but if she had been fastened in, it would have remained a minor thing.
Correct. Even in your older vehicles, such as your older pickup trucks or older cars, they only had a lap belt.
Yeah.
That is still better than nothing. If you're in an older vehicle and that vehicle does not have a shoulder belt, fasten the lap belt.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. So please, just if you do put a child in a vehicle, please put that child in a vehicle. One of the stats I want to share with you about children and child restraint devices is that about 70% of all passengers in crashes under the age of 4 that were using a child restraint device lived. Toddlers or children under the age of 4 are not wearing a seatbelt or in a child restraint device were 85% likely to be killed in a crash.
Oh, my gosh.
So as a parent, think about that.
Oh, yeah.
As a grandparent, if you have that old farm truck that you were just kind of talking about, old truck with the lap belt maybe, or child not being restrained at all, sitting on the armrest or sitting up against the dash of the vehicle, if they're not restrained, our statistics show that under age of 4, children that were not properly restrained by either seatbelt or a child restraint device are 85% more likely to be killed in a crash, not just injured. So please, parents, let that soak in. Restrain your children.
Yeah.
Grandparents, caregivers, restrain our children.
I know this is not exactly on topic. This is kind of a little sidebar here. What about people, because you'll drive down the road and you see an older person with a kid on his lap on the riding lawnmower. What do you guys say about that? What does the THP say about that?
Obviously, that's in a yard. We don't have a law for that, but just some things that are common sense you can't put a law on, or you really shouldn't have to put a law on, because common sense should tell you that you do not place a child on your lap while operating a device that has got many times multiple blades.
Yeah.
A riding lawnmower is probably going to have at least 2 blades, possibly 4, depending on what size mower, what you're driving, that are rotating at extremely high rates of speed. And if that child were to slide off, fall off, you were to lose control, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And then you run the risk of running over that child. By the time emergency medical services can get to you or get to that child, the sad part is that child's probably going to bleed out. Mm-hmm. And their life is going to be gone over what you thought was going to be a fun day out in the sunshine, day out in the yard, spending time with your grandchild or your child, mowing the yard. No, do not. No, a small child really does not need to be outside while you're mowing. Period.
That's a really good idea.
They could chase a ball. They could run in front of you before you get stopped. The grass could be wet. You could slam on the brakes of the mower and try to stop. You're still going to possibly slide. Mm-hmm. The mower can throw debris as it discharges things out the side of the mower, items such as rocks, tree limbs, anything that you may run over can strike that child, because the child's not paying attention. Child, again, is not thinking for themselves. They don't know. Mm-mm. They don't know the dangers. They don't know the dangers of riding on a lawnmower. They don't know the dangers of a parent weed eating or caregiver even weed eating and what can be thrown from the weed eater.
Right.
So they don't know the dangers of running in front of that lawnmower. And as you see, many people who operate lawnmowers have headphones on to protect their hearing, obviously.
Right.
They can't hear a child running up to them or behind them.
Whoa.
So please, it's just be responsible. Put safety first. Put common sense before safety if you have to look at it like that.
Well, true.
Just don't operate a lawnmower with a child outside or on your lap.
I figured you'd go off on that.
Well, to me, it just makes sense.
I know. Me as well. Okay, so now we're kind of...
Well, and since you, and if I can add this, since you said lawnmowers, if we're mowing grass, please don't throw your grass clippings out onto the roadway as well.
Oh, yeah. What's that now? Why?
Motorcyclists riding down the road, you don't realize how slippery grass can be when it's ran over, compressed, and now have you walked through the yard and had grass stains on your shoes? Mm-hmm. That's the fluids from the grass. When a motorcycle runs over that and compresses that grass, now that grass is wet, it's slippery.
Oh, whoa. Like a wet road.
A wet road. So if a motorcyclist comes around a curve and you have discharged your grass out into the roadway, you have placed that motorcyclist at an extreme risk of possibly sliding or laying that bike down, and who knows what could happen after that.
Oh, my gosh.
So please, do not mow your clippings out onto the roadway since you brought up lawnmowers.
I've seen a lot of people blowing their grass out into the street.
And it's actually against law to put foreign objects out onto the roadway, which grass is a foreign object for the roadway.
Wait, what? It's against the law to put foreign objects out into the road?
Yes.
That's good to know. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, that right there, that's enough right there to stop. If you don't have the common sense, that's enough right there.
It is. And I'm not trying to be a heavy-handed, do this, don't do that type of person. I just want everyone to understand, just if we can all work together and utilize common sense in all that we do in our daily walk through this life, because we're all sharing this world together. Yeah. We all love our families just as much as the next family does. Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your ethnicity, doesn't matter anything about who you are, where you come from. We all love our children. Mm-hmm. That's what we all have in common, if nothing else. So put that child's safety and their welfare at the top of your list. And if you don't want something to happen to you, if you don't want to wreck a motorcycle by going around a curve and run over grass, don't mow your grass out into the roadway and place somebody else at risk. So let's treat everyone like how we want to be treated.
Think, because you could be taking away somebody's parent, their mom or their dad, because you helped take them out for a moment of not being willing to rake up your own grass. I'm just going to put it out in the street.
Yeah, just use common sense, courtesy, and we'll get through this world a lot better. But
a lot safer. Since we've been talking about child safety, I would like our listeners to know how involved the Tennessee Highway Patrol is with our school kids and the buses.
Oh, yes.
And transportation and safety at school.
Extremely involved. And real fast, before I touch on that, I'll tell you, parents, your children from age newborn to 1 year old, under 20 pounds, they need to be in the rear seat if at all possible. facing backward, facing rearward. 20 pounds from age 2 or age 1 up to age 4. Rear seat again, if at all possible. 20 pounds or more, they can now face forward.
Oh.
So children that are 4 to 8 need to be in a booster seat. That is still an approved device, secured by your seatbelt and over their shoulder. So, and that, again, is in the rear seat if at all possible. So I just want to touch base on that so that parents do understand the ages, and there are weight limits when it comes to that.
Why the rear seat?
The rear seat in the middle is the safest place on your vehicle.
Whoa. Because the impact might come from the side or the front?
Side, 100%, or the rear. So that the seat before a child, the seat, the middle seat, the rear seat, most car, we're talking about most two-door vehicles or four-door vehicles, four-door vehicles. The center seat is the safest seat for that child.
Well, that's
if at all possible.
That's very good to know.
But yes, Tennessee Highway Patrol, we're extremely involved in school safety, and that does not mean the brick and mortar structure of the school.
Yeah.
But getting the children from point A to point B on school buses. Tennessee Highway Patrol is charged to make sure that pupil transportation is, and as our school bus transportation, that the buses are inspected and that the buses are safe, and we have troopers that are assigned to that duty. That is their 100% job function is to go on a daily basis across state Tennessee and inspect public school buses to ensure that they are operating to the safest capable levels that bus can.
The THP helps with training, continued training for people who are driving the buses?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We make sure that the bus drivers are excuse me, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Same way, allergies.
Yes, ma'am, we do offer training to our bus drivers across the state to make sure that they are educated, to make sure that they are knowledgeable to the rules of the road, to make sure that they're knowledgeable about how their equipment on that bus works, and to make sure that they're knowledgeable how a child needs to safely discharge from that bus and also load upon that bus. So yes, ma'am, we are very involved in our pupil transportation of our children, school bus safety, and school safety all the way across the board.
And I don't know if we've covered this before, but I wanted to, since we're talking about school buses, it just made me think. People always ask, why do school buses not have seatbelts?
That's a very good question. Believe it or not, a school bus is the safest vehicle traveling on the roadway today.
Excellent. As we would want it to be.
As you would want it to be, hands down. The safest vehicle you can be in. Yes, and that does not have seatbelts. That doesn't mean it does not have multiple safety measures in place for that child.
Good.
The high back seats that prevent a child from being thrown forward. The seats are extremely padded.
Yeah.
Not just the backs, but the fronts of the seats, the cushion portion, the seating area of the seat, the multiple exit windows that you can get in and out of that school bus, not the back door.
Yeah.
But you'll see all the reflective tape around the windows that shows law enforcement, first responders that at night they see they know where the exit windows are at to find them to get in, to get children out.
Yeah.
But it's $1 million question as far as why the school bus does not have seatbelts. If that bus were to roll over, people argue the child's going to be tossed around inside the vehicle. Mm-hmm. If the bus rolls over, people argue that the children are going to be hanging, dangling upside down. Mm. Both are possibly true. But why a school bus has or does not have seatbelts, the bus itself is designed in a way that if it is involved in a front-end crash or a side collision, it's designed in a way to eliminate, if at all possible, rolling over. Not to say it will not roll over. If you look at the whole design of the bus, the roof line of the bus, the large side flat panels of the bus.
Yeah.
The bus is the dual axles of the bus to help the rear dual tires, so forth and so on. The school bus is designed in such a way that it has multiple crash zones within that bus. When I say crash zones, areas of where that crumple zones, where that bus will absorb energy before it ever gets into the passenger compartment.
Oh, whoa.
So, again, look at the sides of the buses, how the ridges and the body moldings, body panels, that's not plastic. That's all steel. That's all reinforced body panels. So that bus is designed, again, for the utmost safety and protection of our children.
And that's what we want.
That's 100% what we want.
Safety and protection for our children.
Yes.
We're out of time. Thank you for talking to us and educating us, and we appreciate you just more than I can say.
No, thank you so much. You are a pleasure.
Lieutenant Bill Miller with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. We'll put some links on our Focus Facebook page as well. Please make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie. That's Focus.